What is an argument? If you go, I like cheese or candy, since we're talking about Halloween, is that an argument?
No, I think it's an opinion.
It is. It's an opinion. So if you want to make a fact statement or a statement about something, you go, candy is healthy. So maybe or not, it's not healthy, but you can use it as a statement. I mean, is candy healthy? You're making it sound like a fact. If you want to make an argument, then who wants to make an argument with candy? Candy argument. Who wants to try?
Me.
Okay, Sonny, let's hear it.
Candy tastes good.
That's an opinion again.
Oh no.
Yeah, so
Candy has high nutritional value.
yes, but that's a statement again. So high nutritional value.
If you don't eat candy, then you will be sad.
Okay, so candy causes happiness. That would be, is that an argument or is that an opinion? Well, it's starting to be an argument. Because if you say it tastes good, anytime you have a reference to I or we, and you're saying, having something that's associated with like, or I don't think this is right, if you give a judgment, you're having an opinion. If you're just saying candy is something, candy is made of sugar, you're like, okay, that's a statement. That could be just a normal thing. Can you really debate this? Like, oh, no, I can't, because it's just sort of what it is. But if you're starting to look at a concept, you go, okay, candy causes happiness. Is that an argument? What do you think, Dora? Is that an argument?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's sort of like, okay, why? Then you say, okay, now I have to prove it. And this is what we're trying to write on this paper when we're writing. So I don't want to see this kind of writing because it's too easy. And I don't want to see this kind of writing. This stuff you've been doing since grade 2. So it's a little bit too basic. We're trying to develop your next stage of thinking, and that's when we're trying to get arguments. So if we say candy causes happiness because it releases endorphins, or sugar causes you to have more energy, you can sort of add these things as reasons why. So let's just do an example. Candy causes happiness. Who wants to give me 3 reasons why it causes happiness? Yes, Dora?
You get a sugar rush from it, and then you become hyper/happy.
Okay, sugar rush, and then you become hyper and, not hipper, hyper and happy. What do you think? Dora, give me another reason why candy causes happiness.
And then you get a sugar crash and become really calm.
Okay, so you actually get calm. Okay, but it's like, so candy after making you wild, candy after making you wild brings a bit of peace of mind. So there's your second argument. I don't know if that's true. Usually when you eat too much candy, you just don't feel great. So what's another one? After eating it makes you calm and will bring there. All right, so what's another argument? Eva, what's more than an argument for candy being fantastic?
If you eat candy, then you will find favor in the eyes of turtles.
Okay, but that would be really hard to prove. So if you say 9 out of 10 turtles approve of candy, I don't really know if that's an argument that we can use to convince us that that causes happiness. Unless turtles cause you happiness, and then we have to associate with turtles. So you'd have to must associate with turtles. So that's a much harder argument. What else could we say? Candy causes happiness because it reminds me of, I don't know, Santa, or whatever you're gonna say. Because chocolate smells fantastic. I don't know. So if you're gonna give me these arguments, you're gonna have to say break down the ideas from the story. So if we look at this story, for example, we say that Jim has to go through an adventure. Jim must learn how to make his own decisions. Jim must learn to make his own decisions in order to grow up. And so this is not just saying a fact, it's saying he has to do something in order to grow up. Then we have to list the evidence for it from the book. You don't say Jim is getting older or he is on a ship, because none of these things actually mean anything. So what you really want to say is you want to say, okay, what does he have? What does he do? And what does it mean? This is why you're trying to look at the story and build the pieces together. Does that make sense, Eva? Yeah. Any questions, guys? Dora, does it make a little bit of sense? Have you mastered so you're that was not sure. You were like, I don't know. Tell me why. Be honest. If you don't know, that means everyone else doesn't follow either. I can only understand if you guys don't know, if you tell me. If you go, yeah, it makes perfect sense, and then it doesn't make sense, you can just tell me. You know why? Because you're just learning it. It's okay not to know something. What do you think, Dora? List the evidence from the book. So if we think of a big situation that he has to learn from, what does he have to learn?
To grow up.
Yeah, but how? So that's what we already said in the beginning sentence. But I just said we have to list the evidence. If we just say again, he must grow up, that's actually saying the same thing we're trying to argue. And so you actually have to tell me about the events. So what does he actually have to do? He has to resist pirates, learn to be calm, well, in a barrel, and hearing about them killing everyone. So that would make you, okay, if you're slightly nervous, that's not a great thing. He also gives some other ideas. What other big ideas does he do in the book? He steals the ship back, right? He tricks the pirates, right? He outwits or escapes Black Dog. So these are all events in the story that he does. And so when you're thinking about this, what sort of arguments else could he use? So you're trying to say what he does. He does other things like fighting against pirates. So all these ones are things that he has to do. So you're trying to show that each one of these things, you're not just looking at the fact. So you're looking at the fact and the meaning. So if he steals the ship back, what does that mean? Who remembers that moment? Did anybody get to that point in the book where he steals the ship back? It's one of the most dramatic points in the book. He's stealing a ship and he's like, yay, he's going to save everyone. He has to have a fight to the death with a pirate, just like we all do every day, Eva. We don't have a fight with a pirate every day. So one thing you can do is when you're looking at this, you want to say there's facts, which is what we're looking for in the book. And that's what you're often doing in your writing right now, because you're going over the details. But I want to say what it means. So if he steals the ship back, he has to risk his life and outsmart the pirate. What does this show? So what does this show? If you think about this idea, what would that prove? Eva, if you had to outsmart a pirate and steal a ship back, what does that say about you as a person? Does that mean you're like a really young person, or how would you be able to accomplish such a risky task? What does that say about the kind of person you're developing into?
I don't know.
Okay, so here's what happens. We'll look at the passage in a second, but he gets atop the ship. He finds out that 2 pirates were left alone. He cuts the anchor and he's going to steal it. one of the pirates is dead and the other pirate tries to kill him, but he actually sneaks underneath the ship on his tiptoes, and he sees that one guy has a sword and is going to try and kill him as when he has a chance. So Jim has to be very, very careful and think about not only stealing the ship, but being stabbed in the back. And so what does he do? And so what you're trying to say is he has to start to balance how to save his friends and also how to not protect himself, but how to also get what he wants from the pirate. So all these things are sort of going into the idea. So these are like intelligence in surviving, right? He's learning and trying to be heroic by saving his friends. And so all these things are interpretations, right? So this is where we find meaning. It's not the fact that he's just doing this, it's that it means something else. It has a larger importance in the story, right? And so we don't want to say just in the story, Jim is heroic. What's wrong with that sentence? If we just said that, it's not linked to the content, or not explaining how. We're not explaining why. So if you just make a statement when you're talking about a story and you're not getting into this bigger idea, you're not really giving me the details into telling me what the facts of the story mean. So we want to say facts of the story mean something. If you just give me the facts are not enough. Does that make sense? Dora, what do you think? Does that make a little more sense? I know you already do that a little bit. That's why I'm asking you. But I want you to sort of just think a little bit as you're writing these things. If anyone's just looking at a lot of these facts or summaries in the story, you're going to have some issues because you're not really developing your overall thought. And all of you are capable of saying what these things mean. And you're going to have to do it permanently, nonstop in every class in grade 9. You should already be doing it in grade 8. They should be teaching you a little bit in grade 7. But if you're just doing opinion and fact and you're not telling me the meaning, then it's a problem. And so this is what I'm trying to get at in your writing. We're trying to see, I want to see what your ideas are, your interpretations. So this is what English really should be about. It's not, yes, it's reading and learning grammar, but it's also learning to express what you think things mean. And you're trying to link together. Ultimately, what you're trying to do in your writing is link together the major events in the story for Jim to show how he grows up and what it means. So that's what he's sort of going. So in the very beginning, he's a child. He doesn't want to deal with the pirates. By the end, he's willing to confront them. He, establishes himself in life. He takes confidence. He can make his own decisions. He stands up to villainy and all these other things. So there's all these big meanings you could make an argument for. And that's sort of what you're looking for. You're sort of, if we give a list of events, we want to say how they all fit together and what does it really show overall. So link and show, because it's not about just these things. But one more thing too, when you guys are making arguments, I mentioned all these things. For those of you who read it, they're like, oh yeah, these are the things that happened. So he actually eventually has to kill a person too. And you're like, that's not every day. Did anybody get to that point where he kills a pirate? He has to outsmart him. The ship is coming at him. The guy is throwing knives at him and he shoots him, but his first gun doesn't go off properly and he's almost at his death. See, it's actually a good story. The first little bit's boring, but it's actually a pretty fun story. That looks like a man's face. You have to put some eyeballs in there. So what